So now we're going to have Courtney come in. Hello, Courtney.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how
And
are
thank you so much for being here. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. You know, again, it's so important. Again, only maybe 2% of the world wakes up absolutely flawless. And I'm not part of that 2%, but I use Luminess Air, and then I become part of that 2%. But we're going to talk about issues that I know, goodness, over, just millions of women and men have, every season, throughout the year, whether it is seasonal, whether it's hormonal, whether it's because of climate, weather. So talk to me about your issue.
I've been having issues with acne lately due to medication.
Medication?
Yeah. And my other problem is the dark circles under my eyes.
Okay, well, guess what? Luminous Air can absolutely take care of that. On Darlene, our prior model, we used the foundation, then concealer technique. On Courtney, we're going to use the concealer, then foundation technique. And if you remember, on our last week's webcast workshop, the host was telling you, Sean was telling you that is the wonderful thing about our concealer, is that it can be used before or after because of the consistency of both products, because they are very much alike, because they're both airy and just smooth and glides onto the skin. You're not dealing with two different textures like you would be with other makeup lines. You have that waxy concealer texture, and then you have that kind of flowy, smooth foundation texture, and they never look right together. They never look right together. So what we're going to do is first prime her face. We're first going to prime her face with our Luminous Air Primer. You guys, don't forget how important this primer is. It goes on before the foundation, it goes on before the concealer, and it goes on when you just want to refresh and energize your skin if it's looking a little dull after a long day of work, or depending on the climate that you're in. So let's empty out what we have in here. And it's not going to hurt because we are using we are working with another model. It does not hurt to run a little water through the airbrush. Again, moisturizer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very gently. Very gently. We are going to just make sure that her whole face is nice and hydrated. Now, Courtney, you didn't tell me about the actual, how is your skin, what is your skin type now that you're dealing with the acne? Is it dry? Is it oily? Is it?
I'd say it's oily.
It's oily.
T-zone.
Perfect. We had our dry model with Darlene. Now we have a little bit of oil with Courtney. So great. We are focusing in on two separate issues. Wonderful. So now what we're going to do, because everyone out there in cyberspace has all of our concealers, or at least two of them, I'm going to do another technique. And again, it's a technique. It's not the normal way that I would do a face of makeup or apply makeup. I would just use one concealer. But because today we are dealing with the extreme cases, so we're going to start off by covering under her eyes. We are going to use our Luminous Air Concealer. Our Luminous Air Concealer. And they really are corrective concealers. They really are. They're corrective concealers. What does that mean, Mark? It means that they have certain undertones that help to fight against purple, bluish undertones that are in the skin. So if you have that purple, bluish undertone under your eye, you are going to use concealer number 3 that has the peach apricot undertone. Those peach apricot undertones help to fight against dullness, blue, purple undertones, and even it out so that it doesn't even look like it's there. So that's what we're going to do. Just, you can use a brush, you can use your fingers, just however you feel comfortable with doing your concealer. however you feel comfortable with using your concealer. Because she is so fair, and we want to make sure that her under eyes basically match the rest of her skin. She is pretty fair. Courtney is pretty fair. And though this concealer has a nice peachy undertone, as you can see in the camera, it really has taken away the darkness. But we are going to take that to the next level. Look at that. Look at that already. Purple, blue undertone, bye-bye. See you later. I love it. What we're going to do is we're going to take that to the next step, to the next level, and give her more brightness. We're going to use our Luminess Air Brightener. I call it the Luminous Air Brightener. Lumcost.com calls it C1, Concealer 1. When I say it's a brightener, it's a brightener. I use it, okay? I use it for highlighting. I use it for all types of things. So all skin types can use the brightener. It can be used for under the eyebrow for highlighting. It can be used on medium to dark skin for that little moon-shaped little hollow that some women have and some men have. It can be used to be put in there so that it does not look as deep. So it really is a fix-all product. So again, that's C1. 1, 2, 3, swipe. 1, 2, 3. Now watch this. Watch this, kids. This is my favorite thing to do because it just takes that under eye to the next level of brightness. I love it. And you know, we all have issues, especially, sometimes it's hereditary. Sometimes it's, lack of blood circulation in that area. There to this day is not just a product, a skincare product that works for some people for under their eyes. So isn't it great to have something that's effective to cover it? Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Take a look. Oh my goodness, goodness, goodness. I love it. I love it. Once I was blind, now I can see. I love it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to use her foundation. And again, Courtney is fair. She has a beautiful, fair, milky complexion. Okay, so we're going to use the F2. We are going to use the F2 matte. F2 matte, because remember, she had oily skin. With Darlene, we started off with using the satin because she did have the surface skin was very dehydrated because of the affected area. And again, a person with rosacea, a person with eczema, psoriasis, those type of skin issues are going to have that dry surface skin. So we are going to now use the F2. And this is what we're going to do. This is the procedure. This is the technique. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's our technique. We're going to do it pretty much just like we did Darlene. Starting off with the affected area, okay? So turn into camera for me, into that way to the left. Very lightly go under the eye area. See how I'm using these fluid motions? I'm using fluid motions to make sure we are covering all of the redness that she's experiencing on her cheeks, all the redness she's experiencing on her nose. And because our foundations have the perfect balance of yellow and red undertones, you can use the F2 or the F3. Because Courtney is so fair, I wanted to use the F2. If you maybe are Heather's skin tone, which Heather is actually pretty fair too, as you can see, if you are her skin tone, then you absolutely could use the F3 because the F3 would have a little bit more yellow undertones, and that F3 would help to fight against the redness. that a person may be experiencing. But again, because Courtney, or her face skin definitely, is a little bit lighter than Heather, we are going to use the F2 to start off with anyway. Put a couple more drops and go over the skin again until we don't see any redness. She has some affected areas here on her chin. And you know what? That is very common in women, whether it's, hormonal or different medications that they are taking. It is very common. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're not exacerbating the issue by using brushes and packing on waxy, heavy concealers in that area. And that is the difference between Luminous Air and other products, is that you are actually giving your skin time to transition. When your skin takes on these different, issues, your skin is in transition. The last thing you want to do is to make that transition worse and make it drawn out, right? We want it to just go away today, right? So make sure that you are using a product like Luminous Air that is light on the skin and that really helps the skin to still be able to breathe. Great. Her redness looks totally gone. And remember, you should have at least 2 of the powders, right? So if you do, you have an ivory powder. I would say the ivory powder is definitely the middle of the road. So you're either going to have the white in ivory or the ivory in beige. So the ivory powder, because of its yellow undertones, is really a fix-all. It's a correct-all. It's, if you have a little bit of darkness under your eyes and you want that extra little umph, to brighten it. It's for if you have a lot of redness in your skin and you want to really be able to counteract that. The yellow pigments in the translucent powder helps to counteract that. So we are going to now lightly dust Courtney's skin with the yellow powder. And you can actually see already it's warming her up. You can actually see already that it's warming her up. And assisting with camouflaging the redness. She just has a lot of redness in her skin in general, not just because of the issues that she's going by. She just has a lot of redness in her skin. And this is going to be like a medium coverage. So now we're going to use the matte formula again in the F3. Let's do F3. Let's definitely do the F3. And that is going to bring some beautiful, beautiful color into her skin. Beautiful color into her skin. And more pigmentation. Yes. No, watch. Watch this. I mean, immediately, not only do you see the color, but you're seeing more coverage in the area that she really needed it in. You really are, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And again, a lot of you are typing in and you're saying, how many drops? How many drops, Mark? That's the great thing with Airbrush, is that you're able to gauge how many drops you use at any given time. So I can say, oh, you know what? I'm going really light today. I'm going to just use 2 drops for each step, or 3 drops for each step. With Courtney, I'm ending up using about 3 drops. So when you see me doing, drop, drop, drop in the cup with Courtney's situation, I'm putting about 3 at a time. And look, I mean, redness, totally gone. Issues, totally gone. Coloring, totally matches her body skin now, because if you can scroll down. I'm not on a computer. Clay, if you could get some of that beautiful warmth that she has on her skin, which we're going to, you know what? This is a trick question. No, it's not a trick question. This is going to be a question so that I can see whether or not everyone is really vibing with me and understanding where we're going with this. If somebody can tell me, or tell Heather, what color are we going to use to bring in this beautiful bronze color that she has on her body? Heather?
I'm waiting.
What color are we going to use, guys? What color are we going to use to bring in that beautiful red kind of kiss of the sun color? It's a color that I want you guys to go to lumcost.com and get.
Every woman needs it.
Every woman needs the F8, you guys. The F8. Everyone needs the F8. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put about maybe 3 or 4 drops of the F8 in here and watch when you see her skin. And you want to make sure that you go all the way down to the neck too, because her neck definitely is a little bit more pale than the rest of her skin. Let's see. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to add some blush. Blush is so important. It really is important. This is B2. It has a beautiful, really kiss of the sun, brown-based pink. It really is. It really helps the skin to look really nice and natural.
Did you warm her neck too?
Yes, I'm going down on her neck. I'm going down on her neck. Beautiful. Absolutely. I mean, look at under her eyes. Absolutely beautiful. Under her eyes, it just looks amazing. Amazing. No sign of darkness. Now I'm going to highlight her a little bit with the with the first color, her F2.
Now is that satin or matte?
This is the matte. This is matte. Remember, you guys, she had the oily skin, so we decided to go with matte for both of her foundations. Take a look in camera. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And don't be afraid, you know, if you need a little bit more coverage, absolutely. Go in there and give yourself more coverage. That's what airbrushing does. It allows you to really layer on the coverage. And how does it feel? How does it feel, Courtney?
It's great.
Doesn't it feel great? I mean,
it feels great.
It doesn't feel like you're really wearing anything. And that's what I love about the product, is that you're going to get that wonderful, wonderful hydrating benefit all day long, but it's not going to feel heavy. Like, oh my goodness, you know, I've had this product on all day. I cannot wait to go home and wash it off. I can't wait to go home and wash it off. So now what we're going to do is we are going to give her a little bit of color on her eyes with the F8. And remember, I'm only using 3 or 4 products. I'm using her foundation colors, her blush, and her F8, and the powder. So that's what I use on both of my models. Those are your key products for any type of coverage you want, really. And especially if you're dealing with issues, especially if you're wanting medium to full coverage. So close your eyes. Now watch when I put this on the top of her eye. It is just on her eyelid. It is just going to really look amazing. And I'm holding the stylus maybe an inch and a half away from the eye. Take a look in the camera.
Wow.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So for the eyeshadow, for doing that really light, I'm in a rush. I don't have time to pull out 15 different powders. You're going to use your F8, and you're going to very lightly just glide on the eyelid. And it is going to give you the most amazing, amazing coverage. So now we're going to set. And I use the yellow powder for Courtney because of her redness.
So does yellow help with the redness?
Absolutely. Yellow helps to counteract against redness, and it really helps to even out the skin tone, especially if you have issues, not just red undertones, or you're really flush around your nose area, or you're really flush in your cheek area. It really helps again with that too.
Mark, what type of undertone and foundation would you use for somebody who has like freckles or hyperpigmentation with a lot of browns and pinks in their skin?
That is a perfect question. I am so glad you asked me that question. Look at her. Look at Courtney, everyone. Yay, she looks so beautiful. She looks so absolutely beautiful. Zoom in for me, Clay. Zoom in for me, Clay. Let me give her a little color on her lip. Kind of. There you go.
Wow.
Absolutely stunning. You are the beautiful one. I love it. I love it. And all of you out there are beautiful as well, because I know that you use Luminess Air every day.
Everybody thinks she looks gorgeous.
Look at that. It is absolutely amazing. I love it. And just look at the continuity of coloring. It's just, and it feels, it actually I'm feeling just like silk. Mm-hmm. The product really does feel amazing, not just on the skin, but to the touch. It feels amazing to the touch.
Can she touch it?
Touch it. Yes, absolutely. It feels absolutely amazing. It really does. Thank you so much for bearing all. It's wonderful. Okay, so what was the question again for me, Heather? Freckles, hyperpigmentation. Especially if you are Caucasian, this is really tricky because one may think that you would use the F3. Right? Because it has the yellow undertones. Wrong. You would go with the F2 or the F4. Because freckles can be at times so concentrated in certain areas. And they normally have what? Brown, golden undertones, right? Freckles, the pigmentation. Because they're so concentrated on certain areas of the face, if you were to use a yellow undertone, what would happen? It would make it look ashy. It would make those freckles not warm up the skin like what freckles do naturally. Freckles really do warm up a person's skin and make them look more youthful. So you want to make sure, because again of the concentration in certain areas, whether it's your forehead or your cheek area or all over. I've worked with some women who have the freckles all over, all the way down to their neck and décolleté. You want to make sure you use a 2 or a 4 because the 2 and the 4 have more red, warm undertones. So that is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful question. So thank you so much. I really, really hope that we have focused in on answering everyone's questions. If Darlene, you want to come in and we can have a little beauty bar together. We can have a little smile and say bye-bye to everyone in all of my makeup mavens in cyberspace. Thank you again so much for tuning in. We're going to discuss mature skin and brows tomorrow. So all of you makeup mavens out there that don't think that that next Wednesday, I work too much, that next Wednesday will apply to you, wrong. Absolutely. Tune in next Wednesday at 11 o'clock because what does the brow do? It helps to frame the face. So it's very important. Next week's webcast will be very important. And for all my makeup artists out there that tend to do all types of skin, mature skin is one that I'm sure that you will really grasp a lot of knowledge from next week's webcast. So thank you so much. Mark Harvey, signing out. Say bye-bye, models. Say bye-bye, Heather. Bye. Thank you so much. See you next week.